I'm just shocked, but you'll love it. Imagine this. You meet the perfect man. Handsome, successful, well-mannered. An absolute dream. He invites you to dinner and behaves like a true gentleman. And then something happens so shocking, so bizarre, that you'll never be able to look at truffle pasta the same way again. Never. Today's story is the wildest, creepiest, most genuinely shocking date story I've ever heard. Spoiler, you are not ready for the ending. We met on Tinder. Well, met is a stretch. I swiped right on him, not really believing he was real. He was a pretty famous Korean actor. He looked too perfect. Almost unreal. Flawless skin. Eyes that could make your knees, and your self-confidence, give out. I was almost sure it was a bot. A fake profile, or some prank my friends pulled to drop a digital illusion in my lap. But he replied, and not just with a dry response. He actually started a conversation. Polite, witty, warm, and surprisingly real. Not a single sleazy line. None of that hey sexy nonsense. His messages read like they came from someone who actually knows how to listen and think. Not just copy-paste cheesy lines. The first date felt like a scene from a cozy Korean drama, where everything goes magically right. Dim lighting, soft jazz, a cute cafe that looked like it came straight from Pinterest. He arrived right on time, wearing a stylish coat, and that smile, the one that completely wrecked my inner calm and sent me spiraling into a romantic mess. He opened the door for me, ordered for us both, calmly, without any arrogance, like it was just part of who he was. He laughed at my jokes, which, let's be honest, were questionable at best. He paid for dinner, and most importantly, never acted like a celebrity. On the contrary, he seemed genuinely happy just being a normal guy trying to get to know me. I was already mentally building our wedding playlist. So when he suggested we cook dinner at his place for our second date, just dinner, no funny business, I screamed internally like a crazed fangirl, but tried to stay cool on the outside. And here we are, our second date. At his apartment. His place looked like a designer showroom. Pristine white walls, furniture with character, soft lighting, a light, woody scent in the air, and a hint of expensive cologne. Even the towels in the bathroom were hanging perfectly straight, and the soap looked like an art piece you'd rather photograph than use. He made truffle pasta. Meanwhile, the only thing in my kitchen was instant ramen. There was amazing red wine, some kind of heavenly dessert, and a conversation that slowly convinced me I had slipped into an alternate reality. One where guys like this actually exist. He talked about his childhood, his travels, his favorite movies. He laughed. He listened. He made eye contact. And then at one point, he touched my hand, and that single touch felt like a full-body short circuit. I was literally sparking, buzzing, and melting inside. I thought, oh my God, is this even real? And then, my stomach betrayed me. At first, I tried to ignore it. Maybe it was just nerves, a little anxiety. But a few minutes later, it was clear. This wasn't a warning sign. This was a full-blown fire alarm. Evacuate. Code red. Excuse me, can I use your bathroom? I managed to ask, with a face like I just remembered an emergency work call. Of course, he nodded gently. Second door on the right. I made a dash for it, closed the door, and the apocalypse began. A loud one. I didn't even know my body was capable of making those sounds. I sat there, drowning in shame, panic, and the desperate wish to vanish. Or, at the very least, sink into the tiled floor. Okay, I told myself. It's awful, yes, but not the end of the world. I'll flush, clean up, come up with a decent excuse, and disappear into the night. I pressed the flush button. And Nothing. Pressed it again. Silence. No gurgle, no water, just the eerie pause you hear in horror movies right before the final scene. I hit every button I could find, pulled the lever, lifted the tank lid, and realized there was no water. Nothing. Just emptiness and my doom. "Everything okay?" His voice called from behind the door, soft, concerned. I think your toilet's broken," I whispered, like that would somehow reduce the level of humiliation. "That happens sometimes. I'll fix it. You can use the guest bathroom down the hall," he said casually, like this was an everyday thing. I slipped out of that bathroom like a trained CIA agent on a mission. He stood in the hallway, not meeting my eyes, and nodded toward another door. I washed my hands, my face, my soul. I stared into the mirror for a long time, repeating, "You're fine. You're strong. You'll forget. This was just a freak accident. Never tell a soul. Ever." Then I remembered I left my purse in the first bathroom. Okay, I thought. Just grab it and then leave. No eye contact. No words. Just disappear. I approached the door, from behind which I heard strange noises. Wet, squishy, suspicious. Is he fixing it? I wondered, and I opened the door. And I saw him, kneeling in front of the toilet. And he was eating. He was eating what I had left behind, with a look on his face like a gourmet critic, tasting a 5-star dish prepared by a master chef. He was doing things that no person should ever do near a toilet, not even if you're in love. He looked up. Our eyes met. I froze. He had that awkward oops expression. There were traces of my shame on his lips. I didn't say a word. I just turned and walked out. I didn't run. I flew. Called a cab and vanished into the night. He never texted me again. And I keep thinking, did he put something in the food to make this happen? Because now I'm convinced this was not his first time. Tinder is a hellish roulette. And I lost. Oh my God, I'm in shock. It started out so sweet, romantic, almost magical. Perfect guy, perfect date. And then that twisted, surreal turn. Just when you think it can't get any worse. It does. I was holding on to hope until the last second, thinking, he's just fixing the toilet. But nope. He planned this horror show. First, he added a laxative to her food. Come on. The timing of her sudden stomach disaster? Way too convenient. Second, he's an actor. He could easily pull off the perfect gentleman routine just to lure her in. Third, the toilet was already broken. No water? Yeah, right. He was waiting for this moment. He deliberately set the stage for this nightmare. If I were in her place, the first few seconds, I'd freeze just like she did, and then vanish. No words. Because what do you even say? Sorry, I'm not into this culinary genre. The biggest question. Did he do this on purpose? Maybe he has a whole collection of these surprise dinners. What if he was filming it with a hidden camera? Conclusion. Tinder isn't just roulette. It's Russian roulette and the chamber's fully loaded. If someone seems too perfect, check if your truffle pasta is spiked. What do you think? Ever had a horrifying date like this? Share in the comments. Let's unpack this nightmare together. P.S. I still can't get that image out of my head. Him looking up with the expression of a food critic. I'm so traumatized I now smell check every pasta I eat. This isn't just a fetish. This is a full-on Black Mirror episode. We need a new term. Romantic horror. And if he had texted her afterward, my reply would have been, "Thanks for the trauma."